What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to episode 50 of C4SVillains. I am your host JB and I am here as always with the Council of Villains, Vash and Steve, and we are here to talk about Peacemaker episode 5, the Mortal Kombat sequel, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and so much more. Steve, Vash, guys, thank you so much for joining me.
Feels good to be here. I am ready to get this talk going, man. How y'all feeling?
Good.
Man, I'm feeling great. It's episode 50 of the C4SVillains podcast. It's great to say. I said it on Twitter. It's a pleasure to do content with James. We've been doing content for 3 years on the anime podcast, and now a whole year later for Villains, a show that we've been wanting to do for a long time. And now we have our new members of the team, Steve and Abe, and we've been doing this now for 20 plus weeks with them, and it's just can't wait for another 50, 100, another 100 more. And it's just a great inspiration of content that we do all the time. So very happy that people continue enjoying and continue liking. And also, Prince Allah is not here, but happy birthday. It was your birthday yesterday. I'm sure they said it on the anime podcast, but I wasn't there. So I wanted to say it again right there for you, my man. Happy birthday to you. Hey, Prince, we miss you. Hope to see you next week on the show. If not, 2 weeks once you get out of the hotel.
Yeah, Abe is only not here because his Wi-Fi at the hotel is really spotty, so it's like it kind of doesn't make sense. But happy birthday to a fellow villain. Fucking Abe was lit for his birthday. He was having a really good time, so it was really fun watching that stream.
That stream was hilarious.
But yeah, man, like Vaz said, like this is episode 50. I can't believe it's already been a year. Can't believe it's already been 50 episodes. And today we're going to be talking about Peacemaker episode 5. Like this is going to be a really, really fun episode. Glad I'm here doing it with you guys. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to dive in. Let's talk about some news. So first up, we have confirmation that there will be a Mortal Kombat sequel. I did not think that we would actually get a Mortal Kombat sequel. Same. I am not a fan of the first Mortal Kombat at all. I think that movie fucking sucks outside of some really cool kills. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad it's getting a sequel. That means that people get to work again, which is always a good thing. So I'm not upset about that. But like, I'm really not interested in where this universe goes because I didn't care about it in the first one. So Steve, I'll start with you. Like, do you care?
So I figured that they were going to get a sequel just because even with all the negative comments, we all watched it. We all sat there and we watched it. And then the controversy that went around it, it got more people to watch it, stuff like that. And then, yeah, but I'm not excited. I don't care about Cole. I don't care about him. They didn't do enough to make us care about him either. And so that was just like something that just was weird. They're telling us that Johnny Cage is next. So that's what we're going to get. So I guess that was their selling point. But I'm like, dude, you had Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, all of the main people in this movie. So I don't know why you would think that Johnny Cage is going to be the thing that sells the next movie. For me, I don't get it, but whatever. It'll come out and I'll watch it just to see what happens. I mean, more than likely they'll release it somewhere where there's not much going on during that week, and it'll be the most watched movie for that weekend or whatever, and they'll probably try to milk it. But I'm not excited for it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I am excited for Johnny Cage. Like, he is one of my favorite characters. Like, he was one of the characters that I liked the most in like the 90s Mortal Kombat movie. So I'm interested to see, right? I'm interested to see Johnny Cage, but like in this universe, like, I don't know. Vash, what about you?
So Steve brought up a word that I totally forgot about his character, Cole. Like I literally forgot about this character throughout the whole film. And it just really mind boggles you to understand. Like, you have the blueprint, you have the game, you have the comics, you have the lore. Why the fuck do you need to bring a whole new character in the already established lore of the series? You don't need to make up a whole new character, Cole. Like Steve said, nobody care about him. Me, James, and I forgot, it was Knox and somebody else. We did a whole review, and we didn't give a F about Cole. It's like he was just there just to move with the plot. But you could have brought Johnny Cage, you could have done Scorpion, you could have done Sub-Zero. They have held the lore of games and so much more of this franchise. So it's just, am I excited? Yes, because Mortal Kombat. I grew up with this. It's just like I said it, and James got excited just by saying the word Mortal Kombat. Like, it's sad to say that out of these past 40 years of games adaptation, that the Mortal Kombat from the 80s is still high up there as the one of the best. Yes, Detective Pikachu. Yes, I think there's another one that's Akira. No, I think like one more other game adaptation that's good out there. But it's sad that a movie adaptation from a game from the 80s is still considered the top 5 out of game adaptation, and that's sad. So I don't know what Warner Brothers is doing, but maybe with HBO Max, they see that it's a better chance to give views and maybe a better chance for marketing value. But I just hope with them adding the Moon Knight writer, maybe it will make a difference, because I will hope to see a difference. It was just to see in the next couple weeks of how Moon Knight the writing is, and then from there we could actually be like, hey, this was good writing this episode. Oh, it's because it was written by the same guy that's going to be writing Mortal Kombat. Then we'll have a better anticipation. Are we excited? Or wait, no, he didn't do such a good job in Moon Knight. Maybe in the next couple of weeks we're going to hear the opposite. Oh, he left the project, etc., etc. So it really depends where it could go. But all I can say, as a franchise of getting a sequel, I'm excited. But would I be excited going to the theater or going to HBO Max and pressing play? It depends on my mood. It depends how the trailers, because those trailers did a good job, and that's what they're made for.
Exactly. You
That's
hit
gonna
all
sell
the.
movie.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and that's what's gonna sell the movie for the part 2.
Yeah, but you hit all the nails on the head, right? Like, it really all depends on how good Moon Knight is. And it's like, oh shit, this dude can write. So it's like, all right, let's see what he can do with this new Mortal Kombat script. Because being honest, right? Being honest and objective, they've gotten the origin story crap out of the way, right? So in the second movie, they can actually just have fun, all action, spread out the universe a little bit. And I'm all for it, right? It's just off of the heels of the first one, because it did really well on HBO Max when it opened. It did really well. So what does that tell studios? It tells studios, just do the same shit. Do the same thing you did in the first one, and then everything will be fine. So if they do that, we're going to have an issue, because the writer's just there doing a job, right? Like, it's not like they have full free range control of everything that happens. So, we'll
I know
see.
this very well in production and working there. I know this very well. But it's like, you know how studios like to copy Marvel, some studios like to copy Fast and Furious, and a lot of studios like to copy Mission Impossible and Fast and Furious. So it's crazy how these franchise and plus the James Bond franchise, how they continue getting better and better over the years. Why can they not just understand what Fast and Furious and the Mission Impossible, the James Bond 007, just see what they're doing, going up the stakes, continue improving the story, not just the writing, but also the actors, the costume design, like improve everything, not just the writing, like hopefully also the CGI, the fight choreography improves, because it was not bad, But when my boy, it was so foreshadowed that he lost his arms, and then his power up is going to be arms metal. I'm like, okay, this was just not out of left field. We knew this
Dude,
was
I
coming.
hate that his power up was robotic arms, bro. What the fuck? Because you know, it's like he gets them made right for himself. It's like it's energy. Like it's fucking stupid. I hate it.
Was weird. I didn't enjoy that concept at all of the arcane energy that they were getting that was giving them powers. I thought that was weird as fuck.
Yeah, it's so stupid, man. But I'm all for it. Let's see what happens. Like, I'm gonna watch it opening day. I'm not gonna act like I'm not gonna watch it opening day. I will. And if it sucks, you guys will be the first to hear about it. And if it's awesome, same thing. We'll talk about it on Villains. And again, if it's awesome, we'll spend the entire episode just singing its praises. But if it sucks, we're gonna talk about it.
Get ready.
Get ready.
Just have the song Mortal Kombat, and people will put another star rating just because you have the song there. That's all.
So crazy.
All right, so let's move on to our next news topic, which is something really, really cool. So recently it was revealed that Mysterio was there was a version of No Way Home where Mysterio was going to show up in the third act of the film, and there's this really cool concept art footage that we see here that shows Mysterio versus Doctor Strange. This is really, really fucking sick because Mysterio pretty much based his costume off of Doctor Strange. So that was really, really cool. The runes, I call them runes, but the runes that he uses, they're very similar to Doctor Strange. So I think it would have been really cool if they were able to bring him in and really like brought in like a full Sinister Six. I thought that would have been really, really cool. So what did you guys think when you saw this image? And do you think Mysterio would have fit into No Way Home? Vash, I'll start with you.
So I gotta give props to Sony or Marvel, whoever is deciding to put out this art, because they know how to do marketing very damn well to keep people interest in No Way Home, even after a month later, after the hype has died down to some extent, even though it's still pandemic, plus some theaters are still closed. So overall, they know how to market because it keeps the word of mouth of No Way Home for people in discussion, the outlets, YouTube, and articles. So they're very smart with that. Am I excited that Mysterio could have been part of it? Yes, because the original Sinister Six was with Mysterio in it. So it would have been intriguing. And two, does this concept art give us a intake that Mysterio's alive in the MCU universe? Is interesting because now it makes us ask questions like, what is Marvel telling us? Is he alive? Is he not alive? Did he really not die? But then if the concept art also makes a question that, okay, if he did live, that makes sense why he's fighting, because in the spell, careful for spoilers, if you haven't seen the film, it's been out for a month already, but Peter and Doctor Strange fought, and they had a little discussion. And everyone who knew Peter, guess what? The only person that knew Peter in his universe and who's technically his only villain right now at the moment is Mysterio. So it would have made sense that he joined and made, instead of the Fatal Five, it was a Sinister Six. So it made total sense if it happened, but people need to understand, we're in a pandemic during the time the film was being made. So it was a lot of script rewrites. So a lot of things, or maybe a lot of scheduling happened, but they could bring Mysterio in. But it would have been intriguing to have Mysterio versus Doctor Strange, because in the comics and cartoons are all assassinating. But we know Doctor Strange always wins. So, but overall in the movie, it would have been intriguing how it would all occur.
Yeah, Steve?
I would have loved if they brought him in just because of just the star power too, because it's Jake Gyllenhaal. So I thought that would have been really, really fun to see Jake Gyllenhaal interacting with Jamie Foxx and freaking Osborn and everyone else.
Alfred Molina, yeah.
Alfred, it would have been fun to see him interact with everyone. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely like that. And then like seeing this little graphic, like just seeing them kind of like going at it a little bit, like as like a fight in the sky. That would have been fun to just watch them like in the sky flying, kind of like having a little battle, even if it was only for 30, 40 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like it just would have been fun to see. Obviously, we know, I mean, I think we both know that Doctor Strange wins that, but it would have just been interesting and a nice like thing to see. But it was Spider-Man's movie, so they probably didn't even want to put an action sequence too much for Doctor Strange in that movie. So I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up like carrying over to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, though, which would be interesting.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? There's a lot of variables to this. So first thing that I thought of, it's like, okay, in Far From Home, they put a lot of emphasis on Peter's spider sense, right? That's how he was able to beat the drones. That's how he was able to figure out that the one hologram of Mysterio wasn't him and it was the one that was on the floor. So you would kind of have to retcon how Far From Home ended in order to explain why he was still alive, or to make it really easy on yourself, it could have just been a Mysterio from another universe, like how he claimed in Far From Home. Because
Right.
it's just how do you explain that his spider sense, which was extremely heightened in that moment, figured out one hologram but didn't figure out the other one, right? So it's just that thing. And then like you said, Steve, which is another huge factor, him versus Doctor Strange, it takes away from the huge moment of having all three Spider-Men, spoilers, versus the villains, right? So it's like, you can't have that and then cut between that and then a fight with Doctor Strange and Mysterio. It wouldn't make any fucking sense. It wouldn't work at all. So there's a lot of different variables why I think it didn't end up in the film, but it's really, really cool to think about.
Yeah. I would have loved, like maybe if they even had actually shot it and then put it as extra footage. I wouldn't mind watching that like as a behind the scenes footage or something like that. But for the actual main movie, it just makes sense not to just include them.
Yeah, but Multiverse of Madness, why not? And like you said, the star power of Jake Gyllenhaal, right? Like, why would you cast him just for one movie? Really? I mean, yes. Did they kill Caecilius? Kind of. You know, well, he's not dead. He's just stuck in Dormammu's universe. So they could still bring him back too. I would love to see Caecilius in Doctor Strange 2. I think that would be dope. But yeah, man.
It's possible. It's possible to see him because we see a lot of type of dimensions, things appearing and reappearing.
It would be really interesting to see him come back. Like they just got so much to work with, and with them doing the multiverse, you can always just have endless of like, we bring people back. We'll bring this person back. We'll bring this person back because you got a multiverse, and it's just now you got variants and all sorts of things. You can just do whatever you want to. So that's the fun part.
Not lie, like it just makes me wonder in the other type of parallel universe if there's no pandemic, because technically Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was supposed to be out first, and then Spider-Man No Way Home. How would the movies would have been with no type of script rewrites, no type of just scheduling because of flight, COVID this, pandemic this? It was just you had the people, Andrew still came in there, like that was their goal, you know, Andrew and Toby still be part of the film, but American Girl was the one that brought them in. You know, a lot of different things happened. So I'm curious, how would have the film actually turned out? Like just us talking about it, like Jake Gyllenhaal, imagine if he was actually in it. How would have been if these things actually did happen?
I'm glad that it didn't work out that way, because I think a lot of the reshoots were to add like another Doctor Strange. Like I could be completely wrong, but like what if Defender Strange was never a part of the script and it was just one Doctor Strange versus Strange Supreme, and then it was like, you know what, everyone loved 3 Spider-Men, fuck it, 3 Doctor Stranges, and then just have another one, and we don't know, there could be even more than 3, but 3 has just been confirmed. So it's just like, because 6 months and Benedict Cumberbatch was there almost 12 hours a day for 6 months, 6 days a week. So you know it had to be major reshoots. So I think they added in another Doctor Strange. I think they added in more multiverse elements because they saw what worked in No Way Home that worked so well. And they figured out, yo, we could shift this and make something way fucking cooler. So I'm glad that we don't live in that universe.
Yeah.
we will never know in the what if, but hopefully we see that in the cartoon animated. I'd love to see that in the what if.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
That would be dope.
Yeah. So let's move on to our next news topic. So EA is partnering with Lucasfilm Games and Respawn to create 3 new Star Wars games. One is going to be a first-person shooter with Peter Hirschman. One is going to be a Jedi sequel. Can't wait for that. And then there's the other one is going to be a strategy game by Respawn and Bit Reactor. I am very excited for all of these. I think EA and Lucasfilm Games has learned their lesson from the first Battlefront. Because that game was an absolute piece of fucking shit riddled with microtransactions.
Harsh words? Damn,
it was a dog shit game. Like, you couldn't do anything unless you paid for shit with microtransactions. So it's pretty much useless. You paid $60 for a useless piece of shit game that you couldn't do anything with. So it was just like, I wasn't excited for that at all. Battlefront 2 was a little bit more fun. And then Jedi Fallen Order, dude. Easily one of my favorite games ever. My favorite Star Wars game ever. Cal Kestis, I have a pop of him somewhere. I don't know if it's in frame. Oh, he's over here actually. But yeah, Cal is such a cool character. I love that game. I'm playing it again on PC right now, and I can't wait for the fucking sequel. So Steve, I'm gonna toss it to you. What's your excitement level for these 3 games, and which one are you more excited to see?
Okay, so my excitement level would probably be about a 7 because I've played the games, but I'm not like a huge Star Wars fan, as you guys know. I know I've watched not Boba Fett, but the other one, Mandalorian.
Mando, yeah.
So I watched it recently. You know what I'm saying? So I've watched it and I know a little bit about it. I know the Star Wars animated series that I watched. I watched the Bad Batch, but I'm not like huge into Star Wars. But I've played the games, and like people were saying, complaining about the last games, and I was like, I enjoyed it. I don't know much about the story, so I'm not hard on it and crucial on it. So I give it about a 7 because like when the games come out, I'm going to love them or I'm going to really enjoy them because I don't know much about the lore and everything about Star Wars. So it gives me more room for, if it does come out, quote unquote, bad story wise, I'm going to enjoy it just because I don't know much about the story. I'm actually really, really intrigued by, you said the last one was like a puzzle type game.
Yeah, it's going to be a strategy game.
Strategy game, yeah. I'm going to be more into that one, just intrigued to see what's going to go on. Is the first person shooter, is that going to be more so of a bounty hunter one?
Yeah, I think it may just be like another Battlefront style game.
Mm-hmm.
It might just be Battlefront 3. I have nothing to base that on, but yeah, I'm interested in that too.
Okay. Yeah, I'm interested in the first person shooter and the strategy one just because of those 2 elements. The first person shooter, because you're used to always hearing about the lightsabers and everything in Star Wars, but to be a first person shooter, it's like, oh, they're throwing you something different, you know what I'm saying, for Star Wars. So I'm intrigued by it. And then it's like it could either be hit or it could be missed just because you know how everybody with Star Wars, it's like, no, I want to play with a lightsaber. So that style might work, or if they can do first person lightsaber instead of shooter, they just call it a shooter, first person shooter, just to do that. And then it end up being a first person lightsaber. You get to choose what color you want or whatever. I think that would be dope too.
So that's why I love Jedi Fallen Order so much. Like, it's so much fun to play with a lightsaber. Like, it's so much fucking fun. And you can change the lights. You can customize your saber. You can do anything you want in this game pretty much. So it's so much fun. It's open world. You can explore as much as you want. Yeah, there's a set path, but you can go to different planets whenever you want. Like, it's such a fun game. Amazing. But Vash, which one of these are you most excited for?
Can't really say because I haven't played any new Star Wars game. I haven't touched Jedi Fallen Order yet. Didn't touch Battlefront 1 or 2 because those never interest me because I knew from the beginning when I saw them, like, it didn't catch my interest. And the way James spoke about it in those harsh words, like, it seems like Lucasfilm Star Wars would never sponsor us until like another while because whew. But out of those 3, a Jedi sequel and a first person shooter is what I'm intrigued. The strategy game, it depends if it's mobile or depends what type it is. But they have spoken over the years that they are gonna remaster or do the Old Republic games. Those are the ones I'm looking forward more. So it depends if the first person shooter and plus Jedi Secret, if it's those type of games, then I would look forward. Like I would love it if they do Star Wars Unleashed, uh, with Sam Witwer, like those characters, like make those canon and everything. Like that's what I love about Star Wars the game. So if they bring those back, I am all for it.
Yeah, I would love for them to make Star Killer canon and just make a new fucking
Yes.
game. You know, I wouldn't mind a remaster, but I don't know, just make a new game with Storm with Star Killer in this Star Wars universe. I think that would be a lot of fun to do.
Agree. Like
Yeah,
you
because
can't go wrong, and plus Samuel would love to come back to his character, and and plus with the new consoles, the game will look so much better. Star Wars Unleashed was back in PlayStation 3. We're
yeah,
two
man.
gens different now. Those graphics will look amazing. So hopefully EA and Star Wars will know what to do, and hopefully just bring us good entertainment. That's all I ask for.
Yeah. All right, so last piece of news that we're going to talk about. So James Gunn confirms he did a podcast with Deadline, and he talked about Guardians Volume 3 being the last time that we'll ever see this team of Guardians together. He is wrapping up this story, and I assume, someone else will pick up Guardians later on whenever they decide to do more movies, and it'll be a completely different team. Guardians Volume 3 is currently set to come out on May 5th, 2023, but you know how shit goes. It could always shift. So, Steve, I'll start with you. Like, what are your thoughts on James Gunn's comments? And do you think any of the Guardians will die? Or do you think they'll just go their separate ways?
So with this, that's it's kind of hard because you don't know if they'll actually die. And he said this is the last time you'll see them with this group. So that could be anything. It could be Drax goes home to, you know, to find a wife or whatever, anything like of that nature, stuff like that. Um, Star Lord, we have Star Lord and Gamora. They're going to try to get back together or something like that. Obviously, he's going to attempt to try to make her fall back in love with him. But let's say that doesn't happen, and then Gamora just goes off to her own thing. That's something that technically would make it just one person less, and we seeing it with a different group. So it could be very vague when he says that, when he's saying, oh, it's going to be an entirely different group, because it could just be ones and twos gone and then two other people show up and join the group. So that's not, it's kind of weird. It's kind of like one of those skeptical things where it's like, I don't know, because I just can't see everybody dismembering, you know what I'm saying, or disbanding and everything like that. Obviously, Groot can, come back, and then all Vin Diesel is saying is, I am Groot. I think Groot stays. You see what I'm saying? I feel like Rocket Raccoon is a good piece. I don't see him leaving, and then he's animated as well, so it's more so like it's just a voice. Bradley Cooper, I think he'll stay. The two that I'm worried about is probably Star Lord and Gamora, just because they're like huge actors. They have different schedules and all this other stuff. So I could see them probably just being like, "This is a lot for me, and I need a break. I want to step away from the Marvel universe." I think I think Drax might be gone too, just because of the what if situation. And you know what I'm saying? He was all like, oh, I wasn't asked to voice the character. And they're like, oh, you were asked. You know what I'm saying? So it could be some head bumpage there with Marvel and Dave Bautista as well. So I could see him actually stepping away from the role, but you never know. And then who they bring in, I mean, don't we have what's her name? Shoot. Uh the Beetle. What's her name?
Mantis?
Mantis. So Mantis could join the team. So now it's a different group in a sense. Like she's officially a part
I
of the
mean, I
team.
think after Volume 2, I think Mantis was pretty much like just brought in as a Guardian, like an official Guardian,
Right?
I think.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm saying like now you got her as a member of the group and then stuff like that. So you never know.
Yeah, I think Gamora and Nebula are gonna leave the team, and then they'll just focus on like being sisters and like probably trying to right the wrongs that Thanos made to like different worlds and stuff. I could see that happening. I don't think they'll kill Groot or Rocket. I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
I think they'll stay. They're too valuable to the Guardians. I can see them adding Adam Warlock. We know he's coming.
Yep.
So it's gonna be really cool. I can't wait to see who else, because James Gunn is the king of bringing in obscure characters. So Vash, what about you?
It's hard to say because when he says that, I feel like it's kind of like how DC / Warner Brothers wrote an article on IGN saying that DC Comics will be killing the Justice League in April. I'm like, okay, but like 6 months from now, a year from now, you're gonna do some type of rebirth and bring them back. So same thing with Guardians in the movie with James Gunn, that he says that these characters will not be the same team. I'm like, okay, so this will be the last time you see this team. That happens in the comics. We don't have technically Peter Quill is not the first Guardians. We met the first Guardians in Volume 2. We met the original Guardians. So we will see the new wave of the Guardians, which would be Volume 3 version of the Guardians. And to me, that's not a bad thing, because some of these people probably are, you know, want to do other projects, other films. So Bradley Cooper and them probably want to work on other projects, other franchise. So to me, it's not a bad thing. I don't mind it as long as it's. It would be weird if a different director that's not James Gunn does it. I don't know why, because James Gunn has a flair for the cosmic, but it depends that for anybody else that does this franchise of the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 4, it depends on who takes up the helm and which team members will they do, and hopefully they have the same passion on the characters and the cosmos aspect like James Gunn did.
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
I was about to say, and also it's just they have those other characters that they've kind of like hinted at, just even showing. They showed like Howard the Duck for a few minutes, things like that. And so it's like I can see James Gunn just going, yeah, let's grab him. Let's grab all these other people and just bring them in there and stuff like that. And then with Chris Pratt voicing Mario, and somehow he's voicing Garfield and all, he's getting movie after movie after movie. He might be like, it's time for me to step away from the Star-Lord thing. But that's weird because Star-Lord is like the most important one, isn't he? Like of the whole Guardians of the Galaxy franchise.
I mean, depending on the team, but yeah, most teams, Star-Lord is the leader. But even with all of those things, like everything you guys mentioned, like those are things you do in a booth at home at this point. You know, during COVID, like everyone like records at home, so it's like you could do all of your voice acting, get it done, turn it in, and then do something else. You know, like they work around schedules all the time. So like I don't know. Like I think if anything, we'll just have to wait longer for Volume 4, or have to wait longer like in between movies. Because look at Zoe Saldana, right? Like she's filming like 3 fucking Avatar movies back to back right now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Either 3 or 4. You know what I mean? So they're all busy, but it's just all scheduling. But like you said, man, we'll see how it goes. We'll see who's available and who can jump in. Like I don't know if he'll make like Howard like an official Guardian, but it's James Gunn. Like who knows?
Like if he did that, that would be hilarious. I would like to see. I'm looking at it now, and this guy Starhawk looks really cool too. So I'm like, oh, okay, that would be interesting.
Wasn't that
Sylvester Stallone?
Thank you. I forgot his name. Yeah,
in
that was him.
Too.
So Steve, if you remember back in Volume 2, the original Guardians met up. Like that was like a nod to the comic fans and everything, that those were take the original first comic run of the original first Guardians.
Yeah, they were all captains of their own crew at the very end when they had the ceremony for Yondu.
Yeah.
Okay, all of the different captains: Ving Rhames, Michelle Yeoh, Sylvester Stallone, and like 2-3 other people.
Oh, okay. Well, then I would like to see if he decides to bring them in. I mean, they might be interested in doing it, and you know, it's a bag from Marvel, so
yeah, right.
Might as well.
You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. So that is going to be it for all of the news that we're covering on this episode of Villains. Let us move into our full spoilers review of Peacemaker episode 5. I really, really like this episode. This was a really, really fun, action-packed episode. This episode had a lot of team building in it as well. Like, that was something that I really, really appreciated. We're 5 episodes in right now, and we're watching these. Essentially, some of these people are strangers, but they've become a family already, and it all comes together in this episode. So I really, really like that. So when the episode starts off, we have Chris at his apartment. He's mixing up a hangover remedy because he was just drinking and smoking from the night before. He sits on the stoop with Eagly, absolutely looking completely fucked up, by the way. And him and Eagly is so awesome. Eagly is one of my favorite characters on the show right now. Eagly brings him like a dead squirrel trying to cheer him up. And he's like, I appreciate the gesture, buddy, but I'm not going to eat it. You can eat it.
I'm not going to eat it.
So I have a theory of Eagly, but we can talk about it later. But I have a theory about Eagly that involves animals and butterflies.
Yeah, we can talk about that for sure. But I really, really like this opening sequence. And then we quickly cut to Adebayo's apartment. Her wife shows up because we've seen from the last episode that she's constantly like dodging her wife's calls, right? And I'll be honest with you guys, I am still waiting for her wife to become relevant in some way, shape, or form to anything happening in this story, right? Like on 2 episodes back, you guys made incredible points, you know, as to why she's a part of Adebayo's like arc, but I don't see it. I know, and we still have episodes to go, and it just doesn't work for me. She just shows up. I'm like, you add nothing to this. Like Amanda Waller being her mother, being on this team, becoming friends with Peacemaker, these are all things that are changing her development, right? So it's just like I don't see the need for this wife. I just don't see the need for this character yet, and I'm just waiting for it. There's still more episodes to come, and maybe she might do something, but I still don't care. I still think she's absolutely useless to this fucking story.
Go ahead.
What I was gonna say that when it comes to her character, there's a reason for side characters. I feel like she's the reason for a side character.
She's not even a side character. The detectives are side characters.
Yes,
she is not.
The thing is, like, she brings the value. Like, for example, not to jump, but at the end of the episode, she calls her wife and she vents to her saying like, "Hey, I'm losing my soul." Like, she's her rock. Like in Flash terms, she is her lightning rod. She is what holds her down as a partner. She Adebayo was questioning her motives, you know, putting the diary, you know, doing this for her mom, but not doing this for herself as a person. They both got fired from their job or whatever exactly happened. She took this job just for them to get back on their feet and back with some type of money and sustain themselves. But she's right now losing herself as she shot some people, she killed some people, she's technically fighting aliens that she didn't expect. She's doing a lot on her plate. She doesn't want to be a regular person with a wife. So I feel like that her character is just to hold her down as a human. It's technically to remind herself, which I'm probably am reaching, but let me know what you think.
You're not reaching at all. All of your points are valid. It's just that I don't care. Like, that's really what it is. Like, all of your points are valid. I see all of these things. I just don't care. Like, to me, it doesn't add anything just because you tell me that it adds something. You know what I mean? And it's subjective. I'm not trying to change anyone's minds, but it's just, for me, it adds nothing. But we'll see. There's still 3 episodes left. We'll see. But Steve, what about you?
For me, she vents to her wife a lot. And I'm still sticking with this. I think she'll escape from this situation, which we'll talk about later. And then she's going to vent to her wife about it. And then that's when it's going to reveal that her wife is a butterfly too. I think her wife is a butterfly. I'm going to stick to that. And I think that'll change things. It might, you don't care now, but in the moment when she realizes and then she roars again and she's going to be like, damn, I'm in another situation with another butterfly. I think it'll make a little more like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying?
If that happens, then it's like, all right, cool. right? You showed me these little bits of their relationship. They're struggling right now. She took a job that she didn't want to do to support her family, only then to find out that her wife is the job.
Oh shit.
That's interesting.
That's
interesting. But if it doesn't happen and she's literally just there because she needed a wife, I don't fucking care, bro. I don't care.
What if she is the Charlie? That would be interesting.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Like
it would come full circle if the wife was a butterfly, because you know how in the show right now, Chris and her character are kind of like a coin. Like they're both showing, both showing some type of parent issues. Both are trying to understand each other and everything of who they are. Chris is trying to be less of a bully, more of a hero. And then Abadayo is trying to understand more about her mom, more of who she is, right? But in the first episode, Chris found out the first girl he fucked was a butterfly. And maybe Abadayo, like to kind of compare, she finds out that that her wife is a butterfly. Maybe her mom knew and was trying to help her out. I don't know. Like, again, maybe I'm reaching. Maybe I'm trying to help out Steve with his idea, with his theory. Maybe I'm trying to prove it because it sounds possible that they both have a similar story plot line by the end. Maybe.
Yeah, and Brian brings up a good point too, right? The question becomes like, will she hesitate to kill her wife, right? Like, because she's already getting more comfortable with like having to pull the trigger. She's already crossing that line, right? So like, will she pull the trigger? Will that happen? I don't think that she'll be able to. I don't know, but she might be able to. You never know.
We haven't yet found out. Can you get rid of the butterfly from said host without killing the host? We haven't yet found out.
Very possible.
That's something true. One thing that I think would be cool is if they go the exact opposite route of, will she be able to trigger the trigger instead of her having like a hesitant moment? She does it cold-blooded, like, you're a butterfly, bam. And I would just be like, oh, shit.
I don't think they will, because to me anyway, the point is that Adebayo and Peacemaker are parallels of their parents. James Gunn was on the podcast, the same one I was listening to today, and he was talking about, like, in his mind, this story is really about Chris and Adebayo and their friendship and the parallels with their parents, right? How they're the absolute complete differences to their parents. So I don't think he'll do something like that. I think Adebayo will remain true to who she is, even though she's riding that line, trying to find like those limits. And I think once she finds it, she won't be able to cross the line like her mother does. I don't see that happening, but who knows, man? You can write whatever you want.
I'm wondering, because how she's getting so comfortable with stuff, and I felt like she was getting dark last episode. If she just, I think that would be the last thing, though. She's just fed up with a lot of shit, and if something happened like that, and she was like, "Oh, I am a butterfly," or she starts acting like that, and she just shoots her, just like, "Fuck it," and then it'll be like, "Oh, okay, now she's changed in a sense because of the character development from episode 1 of who she is to where she would be then." I think that would be dope.
Didn't they eat breakfast in episode 1 together in the hotel? I'm trying to remember if they did, and if the wife ate too. So
see, like, I think that's a bad metric to follow, because look at vampires, right? They have to drink blood for sustenance, but they can eat regular food. In most lores, I would say in like 90% of lores, like, they need blood to survive, but they can eat regular food. So I think it's the same thing with the butterflies, where they need this nectar to survive, but they can eat regular food, because again, they're just inhabiting a human body. The human body still requires food, so they have their own nourishment, and I think they still, maybe, I have no idea, but maybe they need to also nourish the human body as well. That's what I think.
Okay, could be.
Yeah, it could be a bait and switch. Like, it doesn't, just because we never saw Myrn eat anything else doesn't mean that that's the rule. I think that's like a red herring from James Gunn, just like to make us think it's like, oh well, they were eating regular food, so that means they're not butterflies. We don't know.
Or she became a butterfly later on.
Yeah.
But also, question, little transition here. So have you guys ever gotten a hangover and made your own type of remedy of how to get sober up? Like John Cena did,
I
Chris?
smoke.
Oh, okay.
No, I drink a beer. Everybody says like, yeah, if your stomach is woozy or something like that, drink some water, get some food in you, or you can just like drink a little bit more and it kind of works.
Yeah, because
So,
Chris drink that little egg or whatever else he makes up there for his
not doing that shit.
way to get sober. I'm like, nah.
I like
I
that
rather.
eagerly. I like that eagerly is like an emotional support animal.
Yeah, right.
It is. And then Chris' character was so nice, and I was like, you know what? I got you high last night, and now let me feed you some of your honey just to treat you. I'm like, okay, Chris, I don't know if you're a lovable animal type of character, but you seem like such a nice guy with animals overall.
For crazy, because if that butterfly gets out, he's coming to you.
Who knows?
We don't know.
Or
Yeah,
he's going
we
to
don't know. So look, since we're on it, my theory is that the butterfly will go inside eagerly, and eagerly will start talking to Chris' character.
Not talking. I don't know about talking.
Not saying it's not possible. I would fucking hate that. Because I feel like Chris and Eagly already have their own relationship. Eagly doesn't need to now talk. Like, I don't know. We'll see. If it happens, James Gunn could change my mind. But as of this moment, I think that would be fucking stupid. That would be crossing that line, right? For me, anyway.
It's possible because from what we know, what happened at the end with Charlie. So like, okay,
I mean, but
so
they had a whole conversation about like. Because a vigilante was talking about a chihuahua. Like, Eagly's too small. The butterfly literally cannot fit into its head.
Yeah.
So it's not even possible. But like,
true, but we don't know. They could probably get smaller. Who knows?
No,
who the fuck knows, dude? It's all fantasy. Who knows? So so let's transition to Adebayo pulls up to headquarters. She receives a text from Amanda Waller asking, if she planted the journal yet. She says she hasn't done it yet. And one thing that I noticed that I like is like there's no further conversation, right? So you can tell that after each conversation she deletes like all of the texts from the text chain just in case someone else's checks her phone, right? So I think that was really, really cool. And then we get John's slideshow. I think this was absolutely fucking hilarious. So Myrn goes into the dialogue. A year ago, Alan Kupperberg, however you pronounce it, I'm sorry. So that is actually a reference to a DC Comics illustrator who worked on Justice League of America. He worked on Firestorm. He worked on the Warlord comics. He did a bunch of work for DC. So I thought that was really, really cool, giving that character some shine. And pretty much how we know about the butterflies is that his plane crashed with a pop singer, and during the autopsy, they pulled the butterflies out of their brain, right? And then we get this really, really dope exchange between Chris and John, and I thought this is absolutely fucking hilarious. Where John is just like berating him for putting his dad in prison, and Chris is like, you could have chosen anybody else, Ariana Grande, Drake, Brad Pitt. It just goes into this epic rant. So Vash, I want to start with you. What were some of the funniest names that Chris called out on the list? Because he called out like 30 different people.
Yeah.
It's absolutely nuts, bro.
My favorite one that he just said was just Optimus Prime. Like, he just named people. And like, you could tell this was improvised / with the script. I'm sure it was a mix of both. And I'm sure that James Gunn like told him, all right, cool. Let's do one version script. Let's do one version improvised, and there's the one version, a mix of both. And I feel like John Cena just had so much fun, like just naming random names, but also probably naming actual people he knows, a little mixture. And just the comedy side of him, just giving him hatred. Like, you could have chosen anybody in the fucking world instead of my father. You could have chosen Ariana Grande. You could have done Optimus Prime. And he said, I could not do Ariana Grande. She's too innocent. And she's like, well, you don't have a point. I'm like, so it's just that comedy of back and forth. It was just very entertaining, and it felt very surreal.
My favorite one is the Joe Montana. Like, it was a callback to the Water Boy, because he's like, he's the best linebacker since Joe Montana. And then the dude goes, Joe Montana was a quarterback, you asshole. He's like, I said Montana. So that was like the immediately thing that I thought about. And I love obviously my name's Scuba Steve, so I like a lot of Adam Sandler movies. So as soon as that happened, I bust out laughing. I thought that was the funniest one when he was going down the list. He said, Joe Montana, and I was like, oh crap.
Dude, some of these are just so absurd. He's like Khloe Kardashian, the Red Tiger from Voltron, Michael Jordan, Michael B. Jordan, BTS, John Lovitz, Danny DeVito, Cobra Commander. I'm like, dude, what? Cobra Commander? What?
Right? I was like, but Cobra Commander isn't even real, but okay. Optimus Prime, I was like, that's dope that you know that, Chris. I'm like, dope.
Mia was like, what did the Red Tiger from Voltron do to you? Like,
oh, that was hilarious, man.
Amy Winehouse and fucking John's like, dude, Amy Winehouse is fucking dead.
He just kept going.
Oh my god.
Like, oh, and just keeps going.
Oh man, dude.
And plus
I
BTS.
died laughing, bro. BTS.
I didn't expect that. Like,
I'm
did.
Like, oh, cool. Because John Cena is one of the biggest BTS fans, so it's like when I heard it, I was like, "Of course he did. Of course he fucking did."
I did not know that. That's dope as hell.
Yes, he's Army. Shout out to John Cena.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that he knew BTS. That was funny though. I thought that was like the funniest rant that we done seen in a while because they just kept going on and on. And then we get an after credit scene. He's still going.
He's still going. He rattles off like another like 15, 20 or some shit. But yeah, it was really, really great improv, and I love that James Gunn like gives them the chance to do all of that stuff. Like right before that, John Cena, Chris mentions that Superman has a poop fetish. And Harcourt's like, where did you even hear that nonsense? He's like, Google. And she's like, that's not even real. And he's like, so you're smarter than Google? Sure, congratulations.
Everything you read on the internet is true. It's gotta be. He said this a couple of times in the episodes. Everything you read on the internet is true. So yeah, he believes it.
He's such a lovable idiot, man. And then he ends off with like the fucking cunts from Riverdale. I'm like, yes.
The group, so I was crazy, like, no, the cast of Riverdale.
I was like, what did they do to you, bro?
Right? And I'm like, I heard good things of Riverdale. Like, I know the last 2 previous seasons aren't great from people's audience reception, but damn, he literally said just fuck Riverdale, like the whole cast, the comic, which one? Because I'm like is it a TV show or the comic? But like, okay,
definitely Chris, the TV
like
show. But you couldn't pay me to watch Riverdale, dude. There's no way you could pay me to do that. You could say, hey James, I will give you $1 million. I'll do it. I'll do it for $1 million. But nothing less than $1 million.
Come on.
Nothing less than $1 million.
Like anything more than 100,000, you should say yes to.
Nah, $1 million.
I mean, up the ante.
Pricey.
Like
I am.
I'm sure those people were fans of the Peacemaker. So somebody was watching that live and was like, "What the fuck?" Like he just sent me. Like, and then I'm pretty sure like they're getting DMs and stuff on Twitter and stuff like that too. Like so, but I just think that would be hilarious just to be a celebrity and then you're watching Peacemaker because you're a fan of the show and he said your name. You're like, what the fuck? I think that would be hilarious.
Oh, Merc, which detective? Is it Song or is it the guy? Because I don't watch Riverdale, so I don't know. That's actually pretty funny. Same. And yeah, also like James Gunn does incredible work when he's working with groups of people that are not the norm, right? Like he works so well with like ragtag groups, which is why he was perfect for Guardians, right?
Okay,
yeah, the guy, okay.
I can only imagine the guy on set watching this, and he said, and the people from Riverdale, and he's like, bitch. He's
like, yo, I was there. No. I thought it was good.
Oh, man, Brian, you're offering me $800K to watch Riverdale. All right, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yeah,
that's close enough to $1 million.
Because I think Sam watched it, and I think he only watched season 1 and 2. I don't think he continued on with it because I think
I'm not interested in tween dramas. Like I only watch The Flash because I love The Flash, right? Like, but they're tween dramas. I hate them.
If that's the case, to watch Gossip Girl because that's more entertaining.
I did watch Gossip Girl years ago with Mia,
and that was entertaining, right?
It was entertaining.
You see,
I'm gonna have to undercut James. I will watch. I hate Riverdale, and I won't watch it for anything but $700K. I would never watch Riverdale unless someone was giving 700 copies. You can save yourself 100,000 by paying
Right.
me.
or if you want to shoot it on my way, 500K. You know what I'm saying?
$3.
Oh damn!
$3.
He said, "Fuck it, I need to pay gas. $3. Let's go."
So we cut to the police station. August is talking to the detectives, and this is such a great exchange. Like I love like Robert Patrick and the actress that plays Detective Song. I love their back and forth. Like he's talking to her and he calls her Lucy Liu, and she's like, did you call Lucy Liu because we're Asian? It's like, what about you, Jimmy Fallon? And he kind of just nods like, okay, touche, you know.
And she's like, I'm running out of white guys. I was like, how could you run out of white guys?
There's way more white guy names out there. There's Luke, there's Dave, like there's so many more.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was fucking hilarious. And Merc, I did. Like, he is such a good actor. He's so good in roles like this, too, where he plays, like, really ominous, like, creepy characters. Like, he's such a good actor. Yeah. So we get back to base, and this is this another weird conversation about Chris giving people nicknames with penises. It's just, like, this is the weirdest thing. Like, why?
That threw me off.
He's just looking at people's dick in the shower.
And he's like, what am I supposed to do? Look at the towel? I'm like, the wall? Anything else?
Yeah, look higher. Like, don't look lower. Like, how do you judge and then give a nickname, and then those people will cry to themselves because of what nickname you gave them. And but you say, you're a bully. I'm like, and Bo was like, no, I'm just giving them names of what I see. I'm like, because you should not be looking.
Yeah, bro. I'm like, so you're just gonna look at this guy's dick and it's like, Prince Charming. So I'm like, what?
Like, that would be a weird thing after you see my dick to say, oh, you're
right?
Charming.
I'm gonna nickname you Prince Charming.
Like, what made you think of my dick and call it Prince Charming?
The best part of that conversation, though, was when John Cena says, well, I was bullied too, you know. I was bullied because they called me bully. They called me a bully, so they kept bullying me by calling me a bully. And I thought that was hilarious. I was all like,
I'm like, so
doesn't
stupid.
get it. He just doesn't get it.
I'm like, boy, you don't understand nothing what's going on right now.
Yeah, and then he's like, his friend Veiny McVainerson said that he was a gypsy, but with dicks instead of palms. I'm like, dude, who wrote this? It's like, is this just John, like, just going off, or is this James Gunn? Like, it's just so funny, bro.
It could be both. I think James says, just say what you want.
Yeah, just say whatever.
And then him and Vigilante look at the script and they're like, all right. And they know their cue lines, but then in here it just says fill in the space. He's like, all right, cool.
And plus Vigilante saying that he didn't hit puberty until 20. I'm like, wait, what? How? Like, how?
It didn't bother me because I didn't have emotion.
I'm like, you like 10 years late. Like, most guys hit 12 to 15. You are like 10 years late, my guy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So the team's in the van. They're all listening to hair metal together. And this is the beginning of them kind of sort of like bonding together, right? And him and John have this really cool moment where Chris talks about this band, this glam metal band that they both like, and their favorite song 11th Street Kids, right? So they're starting to bond with each other. I really, really like this moment. And then they pull up to the factory, right? And then fucking Vigilante just pulls out a chainsaw, bro. He just pulls out this chainsaw and he's so excited. He's so excited because he wants to kill anyone with this chainsaw. And Harcourt's like, no, dude, no. We don't even know what we're getting ourselves into. You're not going in there with a fucking chainsaw.
He's like, I can't hear you.
I wish you did.
I can't hear you.
I wish you did because it's like, Vigilante knew. This is like a zombie film. He knew that this was about to be some type of jumping, screaming, type of alien invasion type of shit. He knew to bring a chainsaw to just start slicing and dicing. But my boy John Economics took that win and took that W.
So Brian, I never heard of this band before. Hanoi Rocks. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I never heard of them. Like I've never actually like listened to glam metal. I usually listen to like pretty heavy metal. But like, I love all of these songs. I love the song from the opening. I love this song, the 11th Street Kids song. Like, I have all of these in my Apple Music playlist. Like, they're so much fun.
Yeah. I definitely have the opening in my thing, in my playlist now. Another thing that we did kind of like zoom past a little bit was when what was funny was when John Cena was making fun of Jazz after at a biopic. I like Jazz. He's all like, oh, burn, and he's making the fart noise. She said, "What's that?"
That hurt me. That hurt me because I'm like, Jazz is a beautiful music. So I'm like, damn, Chris.
She said, "What is that?" And he said, "That's Jazz." It's like, I thought that was funny, a little funny back and forth. But the whole chainsaw thing was funny just because Hardcore is like talking to him. He's like, "I can't hear you. The chainsaw is too loud." He's like, he's still talking about it. She's like, "No."
Yeah, and I actually skipped over something. So I actually skipped over the part where we switch back to the detectives at the police station, and they finally get the prints back, and they check him, and they realize that they're not August's prints, right? So then they go back to the couple from, what was it, episode 3 or episode 2? I can't remember. It was 2, right? So they go back to the couple, and then the husband just tells him everything, right? Just completely snitches, and the detectives don't even have to say anything. His wife, even his wife, calls him a pussy.
She's like, "You pussy." He's like, "It's not the time to lie right now." It's like you could tell. I like the fact that they still like hate each other. Like they have that little love-hate thing, I guess, that they're doing.
It's like, yeah, I guess we're already married. We should just stay together, I guess.
Yeah, it's too difficult to break up.
Yeah, so switching back to the factory, I kind of just want to toss it to you guys. And Vash, I'll start with you. Like, what was some of your favorite moments from that factory sequence? Because we have a lot of crazy action going on in that fight sequence, kind of just to start it off. So so fucking Chris and Adebayo walk into the factory, and she's all like, "You're gonna be chill, right? You're gonna be chill." He's like, yeah, he's gonna be fucking chill. She walks in, says hello to the lady, and then he turns on the X-ray vision in the helmet and just blows her fucking head off.
So if nobody noticed, I love it. Like most like we did, but if nobody noticed it, his shotgun had the symbol of a dove. My boy was ready. He didn't have no panic attack. He didn't have no anxiety. He was ready, gun blazing and swinging. And a nice shout out to Steve and myself, because we gave that theory last week that he was going to use the X-ray helmet as one of the first ones.
We all did.
To use. Yeah. We all did. I just remember it was Steve, because Brian brought up in the chat, and I know I brought up, but I forgot who else.
Yeah, I literally brought up a screenshot of the X-ray helmet in our last episode.
Okay, so all three of us on the Council of Villains right here brought it up on that theory that he used the X-ray. I just didn't expect that little sprint of murder out there, because Abigail's reaction was hilarious. She's like, "What the fuck you doing?
You could have warned me." It's like, well, me shooting this person in the head was a warning that there's a butterfly. Like,
I'm like, no, Chris. She's been telling you to communicate about your feelings, and instead of you using action all the time, express. And literally, like, he just kept on shooting without even telling her, like, bam, bam, bam. And I was like,
yeah, we got shit to do. I don't have time to talk to you.
Yeah, you need to understand.
my favorite thing in the factory, towards your question, is the bomb. Is that, like, he literally just grabbed out his bag. Literally just grabbed out his bag like it's a fucking baby, and girl asks, "Hey, what is that?" Like, "Oh, it's a bomb that I had here, but I just killed 2 people, but
it's just a grenade strapped to a Russian like tank round. Nothing big, no big deal."
And she's like, how many people that killed? Like, I don't know, we're about to find out. He literally threw that shit, and the way he saw that, like, oh, we should duck. He didn't even say anything. They just both ducked down and somehow survived. I'm like,
yeah, I mean, they were far enough away, I think, to jump away from the explosion. But yeah, this was absolutely hilarious.
He's like, I shouldn't have to tell you to run if I throw a bomb.
Yeah, it's like, I didn't know I had to tell you to run away from a fucking bomb. Like, really?
No, but you should mention it like, hey, I just throw a bomb. We should duck or run. Like, at least say it so we're all in the same page. Because if I threw a bomb and I didn't tell James and he still survived, he would be screaming at me and say, like, Vash, what the fuck did you throw a bomb and not mention him? Like, yo, I just thought you knew. I'm like, but I don't read your mind. You gotta speak what the hell we're doing. You just threw a bomb. I could have died too. Like, well, sorry, my fault. Like, so like stuff like that is what Apadayo just got like mad about. So that was my first scene. Even though it's been promoted on the trailers and everything, I still love it with the context. It was hilarious, and just him. He was smart. Also, I love a line that we didn't bring up as well. Back in the car, Chris brought up saying the 5 of us against the alien invasion. And Hardcore said, "Oh, you're forgetting Merm." So even though Chris acts stupid or is stupid, he has this great intuition of what is going around him, subconsciously, most likely. So I feel like,
he counted Mern. What he said is that he didn't count Economos because he was a fucking pussy. That's what he said. So he was counting Mern.
But I feel like he was. Like it's interesting, but maybe subconsciously he knew that he was not counting Merm. I don't know.
I mean, but
just find it interesting.
He said verbatim that he was counting Mern. He wasn't counting Economos because he's a fucking pussy. Because there's only 6 of them. He only counted 5. The only one that he excluded was Economos. Now, I am with you that he doesn't trust Mern.
Yeah.
But that's completely different from this scene.
Yeah. It could be hilarious if he just was like, "Oh, she caught me," and then he just decided to pick on Economos just again. But it didn't even seem that way. I think he was literally what James said. But my favorite scene is Adebayo shooting the bodies after they're already dead. That was my favorite. She was just like, bam, bam. And he's like, "I've already killed him. You don't have to shoot him again." And she's just like,
I'm just making sure. I'm like, they're dead. A shotgun.
She almost pulled the trigger on another one. Like she's like, and she stopped. It was hilarious.
She stopped and stared at him like, Yeah. You're not gonna shoot him. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I thought that was like one of my favorite moments in the whole warehouse scene. Like the first shot, you know what I'm saying, of the old lady, that was hilarious because it was like, oh shit, he's getting straight to it. But then also that was like my favorite thing though, the fact that she was shooting dead bodies.
Yeah, all of that. And one of my favorite moments is John comes in with the fucking chainsaw and literally kills Charlie the gorilla. Now, here's the thing. Do we still believe that this is Grodd, bro? Because do we think that James Gunn would just bring Grodd into the universe and then just fucking kill him? I'm starting to think that this is just another sentient gorilla because of the butterfly.
So I think it's a nod to Grodd for the people that know about the smart sentient gorilla city, Grodd himself. But I feel like this was just a regular animal, and I think they were just trying to test the butterflies if they could go into animals, and they tested this smart looking gorilla and see if it worked. And it worked. But I don't think they will put Grodd himself inside and kill him like this, because I think they know that the fans and everyone will be mad. Like, how the fuck do you kill Grodd and don't even have a Flash reference, or don't even have Flash, bury a wallet, etc., etc. So as much as I'd love to believe that was Grodd, I think knowing that that's a gorilla that's just beating and whooping the ass of Peacemaker and everyone else, and John just literally took Chainsaw Massacre on this whole bitch ass gorilla was dope as hell.
And by the way, the person voicing Stephen Blackheart, he's actually worked with James Gunn on a bunch of different shit. He was a character in Guardians Volume 2. He was a character in the Suicide Squad. He was in Super. He was in the Belko Experiment that James Gunn wrote. So I thought that was really, really cool because James Gunn likes to keep it within the family, right? So I'm really glad that this guy got a chance to voice this gorilla very briefly and painfully in his death. But I thought that was really, really funny.
Yeah, I don't think it's Grodd unless like they just plan on just like making this not part of the whole universe that they end up making with the DC universe. But in my opinion, I don't think that it's going to be this can't be Grodd, because I feel like eventually they're going to bring in a gorilla Grodd. So I feel like, you know what I'm saying, that it can't be. Now, if they just decide to do this and then this is like in its own contained universe, the Suicide Squad, then okay, that will make sense. But if they're doing like a whole DC universe, it can't be Gorilla God, because he's got to show up eventually.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. Like, this confirms that it's not Grodd, because we know that this series takes place in the DCEU. Like we know this.
Mhm.
So it's just like, yeah, it was just a nod to Grodd, which was just really, really fun. And he got to talk, so I thought that was really, really cool as well.
Mhm.
But before we move on, there was also something else that I kind of jumped over. But was just this like really cool exchange between Chris and Adebayo right before they go into the factory, where Harcourt was telling Chris to take the pistol instead of the shotgun, and he was like, "Look, when I finger you, I'm not gonna use a pinky." Right?
Yeah,
And then
pinky.
Adebayo is just like, "That's absolutely disgusting." And
I
Chris was
totally
talking
missed that.
about
Wow.
and Chris was talking about the fact that you're just saying that because lesbians don't finger bang. And then they just go through this entire like back and forth between like Adebayo's like, what do you mean like we finger bang more than the entire world combined? And
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, I guess I kind of forgot that women had fingers for a second. It's just like, what's
Like,
happening?
what?
Yeah, that threw me off. I was like, how do you forget lesbians? Like, they're still human. They still got their fingers. But I'm
He's like,
like,
I don't know, I
you
wasn't
know,
thinking.
I could tell Chris, you wasn't thinking at all. Like, sometimes you're smart, sometimes you're plain stupid.
Yeah.
God, he really is, man. But I love the relationship between Chris and Adebayo. Like
Bam.
I love the friendship between them. Like, what do you guys think? Like,
I'm really enjoying it, and they're clearly bonding a lot, and like they're really becoming friends. Which sucks that she has to do what she has to do. You know what I'm saying? Her other task, which is to undercover and do what she has to do, which is planting that journal. But you can tell that like he genuinely trusts her, which is something that Mern had said. He was all like, you know what I'm saying? Hardcore, he wants to fuck her. Like he genuinely, trusts you and you're his friend. And she even like talks about it. She was all like, "You think so for real?" And then like now you're seeing like he genuinely is friends with her.
Vash, what about you? Like, how do you feel about their friendship?
I like I like the chemistry. Can't wait to see what continues on for episode 6 next week and so on for the last 3 episodes. Because their bond and the chemistry of all is very entertaining. It's like we said it in the beginning of the review. They're both parallel to what the parents are to them and stuff as their characters. So I can't wait to see what continues to further down their path because even even Abada didn't want to plant the fake diary. She felt like girl was just doing a job, but she didn't want to because she actually liked Chris. Like she actually liked him as a person. So like she felt like this was too much for her.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that a lot more once we get to that apartment scene because that was such like a pivotal moment for both of these characters, and I can't wait to talk about that. So let's talk about the van sequence real quick. So everyone's celebrating. They're all covered in gorilla blood, and
Mhm.
everyone's listening to 11th Street Kid. They're all rocking out, and this is the first time we see Harcourt smile. She's actually having a good time. You can tell that she's actually like accepting, like, you know what? I kind of fucking like these people. So I pulled up took a screenshot of this, and it's such a great moment watching the team together, man. Like they look like they're having so much fun. They're excited. They just completed this huge part of this mission. They just killed dozens of butterflies on the way back to the base from, victory. I love this scene, man. Like just listening to them all bond, and Chris is like, hey, Harcourt, pretty cool, right? Like the music, right? So I
Mhm.
absolutely love this moment between the entire crew. Steve, what about you? I want to toss it to you first. Like, what did you think about this moment between the team?
I love that the fact that they were just like all really, really hype about it. But then the fact that she pulled out that phone and I thought she was gonna like send a text. I don't know what I thought she was gonna do, but I was not expecting her to take a picture. So when she took a picture, I was like, yo, that's really dope. Like she's actually opening up. And then like even later on when she starts a group chat and it's like, I just want to come to the bar. Like she always says, I just want to come to the bar and drink and just like be alone. And you know what I'm saying, with my doubt. And the fact that she's starting a group chat and she's smiling and she's reminiscing over the day and things like that, it just lets you know like her character is starting to grow as well. Like everybody is literally having these small moments of development, and I'm really enjoying it. I think that that was really interesting that she, because I definitely thought she was pulling out her phone to tell Mern, hey, these guys kind of got it together, or you know what I'm saying. I didn't know what I thought she was going to do. I didn't think she was going to pull out her phone and take like a big ass picture and put it on Instagram or whatever she thought you know what I'm saying, what she was
Yeah.
doing with it. But I thought that was really dope. It was like heartwarming. It was like, oh, okay, so she is opening up to these people. So yeah, I really thought that was fun.
Vash?
I feel like hardcore is. I feel like the pictures is gonna come back and bite them in the ass because with those cops and play detective, knowing that Chris Peacemaker, and Vigilante without his mask off. I mean mask on. So I feel like this is gonna bite them in the ass because you know how they're technically about to get a search warrant for Crystal, but Chris has a phone in the group chat. What's up? Because of the group picture. So this will come back and bite them in the ass. That is my theory, my idea of what could possibly happen. And I feel it's gonna, since we're already past the 5th episode now, we're getting into the climatic. In the end of the episode that we're gonna be talking about, we just passed the climatic point edge. Now we're gonna fall to the resolution of what happens next. So it's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah. So
Very good point.
yeah. That was a great point. So we cut back to the police station, and Song is pretty much Detective Song is completely surprised that August is being put back into holding. Right, like she thought that she found the right evidence, even though this is the fucking White Dragon. She's still a cop doing the right thing. And he's not responsible for this crime. He is responsible for a lot of very terrible things, but not this crime. And there's such a thing called due process, right? And then she is introduced to the new police captain, and this was the guy that met Mern in his hotel room. And I wanted to wait to talk about it in this moment so we could talk about it all together. But like, who is this guy, right? Like, he was sent by Amanda Waller to assist Mern. You can tell that, much like how Mern used to be, like, they all are like, vicious killers, and they just do whatever it is that's necessary. So it's just like, who is this guy? Who is this Locke person? Like, what is he doing here? What is he really doing here for Waller? Because there's always something else with her, right? So Vash, I'll start with you. Like, do you have any ideas of who this guy could be, and do you think that we can trust him? Obviously we can't, but
I'm about to say, James, you're asking the question that you know the answer to. We cannot trust anybody. It's like our great Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark slash Iron Man have said that when you're a spy, even the spy has secrets, and those secrets have secrets, and those secrets even have secrets. So these guys, Merm and this other white dude, they're black ops. They don't even trust each other, but they have a genuine respect for each other, so that's why they trust each other. So those type of things in the line of duty, in the line of black ops and covert type of missions, makes you be more reliable on others to an extent. And Merm needed assistance to have the White Dragon, aka Chris' father, inside jail more. And I feel like that's also gonna bite them in the ass because I feel like there's gonna be a climatic type of son versus father at the end. So I feel like that's gonna be something that James Gunn also likes to do: son versus father, aka Guardian of the Galaxy of Volume 2, and Yondu, Eagle, the Living Planets. I feel like it's gonna be a similar type of story. White Dragon versus Peacemaker. So it's gonna be very intriguing if those type of photo events actually happen.
yeah, I mean, because we know he gets out of prison in the next episode, and he literally tells the guy that's driving him out of prison that he's gonna kill Chris. So we know that it's going to come to that point at some point in this series, probably maybe in the finale. He might have to kill his own dad. Maybe Adebayo does it so that he doesn't have to. Who knows? Like, it could go a lot of different ways.
Mm. Yeah, for me, it was just oh yeah. Okay, yeah, for me, yeah, I was just thinking because the whole situation that they played out with him going back to jail, and do we trust this guy? Him and Mern had like conversations, and it seemed really like awkwardish. Like they both said that they were black ops and things like that, but it kind of struck me as like he was a butterfly, is what it felt like, in a sense that he also was a butterfly
Why do you think
instead
that?
of just their conversation, their mannerisms, how they were just both like weird. And I know that he's sent from Amanda Waller, but for some reason it was just the way that they were like talking and things like that. I felt like he was a butterfly. I felt like, and it might even be bigger than that. Like Amanda Waller knows that they're butterflies, and they're like, all right, you guys play your part and introduce You know what I'm saying? Or track down these other butterflies. That's the kind of route that I'm going with it, because him and Mern have had conversations and stuff like that, but we never see him on screen with any of the other operatives or whatever. So maybe it's like a secret thing where it's just they're two butterflies and they're interacting with each other. And then Amanda Waller has hired him, but track down other butterflies, because they literally got rid of the other captain somehow. You know what I'm saying? She's just automatically gone. And then we get White Dragon being rearrested. So if he's being rearrested, there's more to his character as well. That Amanda Waller wants to keep him in there for a certain reason. And I'm wondering what's going on with it.
Yeah, because I mean, great point as well, right? So here's the thing, like, Amanda Waller knows everything. There is no way that she doesn't know that Mern has a butterfly in his head. There's just no fucking way. And the more that you talked about it, I'm like, this guy probably also has a butterfly in his head, because like you said, the way that they were talking to each other, right? Like Mern mentions like, I'm not that guy anymore, because he's not. He has a butterfly in his head. And then Locke mentions, he's like, yeah, I'm not that guy either. Like Mern mentions that we need something lower than a sledgehammer. And then he mentions that like he's barely a ball peen hammer, right? So it's just like, maybe he's also different. But who knows, right? Like it could go a lot of different ways, man. And I love that James Gunn is just like fucking around with this a lot. So it's really, 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 really cool.
Yeah, with Brian, he was like, I think everybody's a butterfly. It did say like 70% of the world was butterflies. So it's a good chance that a lot of these people might be butterflies.
Yeah, Brian, like literally the whole map back in episode 3, or at the end of episode 3, literally the whole world. Red dots.
Yes,
like
crazy.
I think it's hard to trust people or expect who is real and who's not real. Like, it's hard to trust, man. Like, even your own team that we're about to talk about just came just because they used an X-ray helmet instead of talking to you, instead of having conversations. They just came and attack you.
Yeah. And it's funny because like she has the helmet on, but she's still outside of the room. She sees through the wall, and he just looks up and just immediately just comes at her. You know what I'm saying? Because she had already said, "Oh, I got the helmet" and stuff like that. That could have been his first time to get up and attack her. It wasn't until he looked at her. So I mean, until she looked at him. So I'm wondering what was up with that situation.
Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, for sure. Because I have some thoughts on that as well. But so the detective gets pushed back from the new police chief, so she goes and finds Judge Judy.
That was a funny.
Like,
that's fucking hilarious.
Like James Gunn, really, that's so on the nose, but it's hilarious. It's because even the guy detective was like, really, Judge Judy?
Really? Judge Judy?
Yeah. And also he's my uncle, and he was like, really, your uncle too? So like it just fit everything.
Yeah, it works so well. So she gets a warrant to arrest Peacemaker, and we know that's going to happen in the next episode. And then that's when, after that's when we get the scene where Harcourt's at the bar. She makes the group text 11th Street Kids, which I think is really, really cool. Like, she's sitting there. Now, she still enjoys her alone time, but like she's branching out into this family that she can actually talk to and relate to. So I love all of this. And then Adebayo is driving Chris home. He invites her in for a drink, and then he gives her the peace train that oh my god, that has like yak butter and all kind of other shit in it. Yeah. And she mentions that it tastes like feces.
And he said,
nasty.
He's all like, that's rude. When she spits it out in the cup, he's like, that's rude. You never spit out somebody's drink that you offered to him. And she was like, have you tried it? And he's all like, of course. And then he drinks it.
I bet your boy wanted to throw it out too, but he was like, nah. He had too much pride.
Yeah. I like the conversation she had. She was like, are you going to try to fuck me? And he's like, no. He's like,
are you going to try and fuck me and claim like your dick is like a lesbian or something?
Right?
He's
like, damn.
He's a lesbian.
He's like, just to be clear, my dick is a lesbian, but it doesn't work in this situation. But yeah, like, so let's talk about it. So I love this moment between Chris and Adebayo. Like, they're actually legitimately bonding, and she tells him, like, if you would just take away like the asshole part of yourself that you use to like protect yourself, to like push people away, like if you were just Chris Smith, people would really like you, you know, and you can tell that she genuinely means that. And Chris genuinely felt that. Like, he was literally on the verge of tears because he's never had this, right? Definitely never had that love from his father. You can tell that with his attitude, like, he kind of pushed friends away, especially with everything that happened with his brother and everything. So it's really cool to see that he's finding like a genuine friend in Adebayo, and that the rest of the team is becoming a family. And then, like, he goes to the bathroom and she has to hide the journal. And it's just like, what's in the journal? And I love, like, how the actress plays this, because you can see the pain with the fact that she knows that she's setting up her friend. So, Steve, how did you feel about that?
Yeah, so that scene, it felt like, so she doing what she has to do, I guess, what she feels like she has to do for the mission. And then it kind of like, it's one of those other things where it's like, she still hasn't tipped the scale. Because like last episode, I was like, oh, I feel like she's setting people up. She's about to go dark like Amanda Waller. But then with that, it shows that she hadn't tipped the scale quite yet. Like, because she feels remorse about what she's doing and things like that. So I'm just thinking, okay, well, does she really feel remorse? Because I don't think she dies, obviously. So clearly something's going to happen. And what if it's Peacemaker that saves her? Now he saves you and you just freaking framed him. So she's going to have to try to go back and, you know, try just anything like that, or try to figure out how to save him and fix the situation. And with that situation, also with that whole conversation, she actually sees that his brother, she's like, is that your brother? He was like, yeah, you know, he talks about him a little bit, but he doesn't give her too much detail. But I think she can figure out, you know what I'm saying, that he's not there anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think he's told everybody that his brother passed away. But
Yeah, because I mean, it's in the file, you know. So I mean,
oh yeah,
unless
so
they
then,
ask, you know.
yeah, so she might know, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, oh dang. So she found out a lot more about him. And then he just so happens to go to the bathroom and she's like, well, this is my only chance. And then you can see the remorse, like you said, on her face. Like she's just like, yo, I just had to set him up.
Yeah, man. Vash, what about you?
I I feel like, because we know what Amanda Waller said, that this is a copy of his actual journal or slash diary. This is a copy that they're putting back in the house. But what I'm curious to know is that, why does she have the original copy? How did she get the original copy? And three, does she have the original copy? It's because to use this type of information that she have for the White Dragon. Because it seems like she's putting so much now pressure or so much resources now to keep the White Dragon in jail.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me wonder, is Amanda Waller doing this and putting a diary is to actually get back against the White Dragon?
I mean, but the plan was to put the diary in his place before the White Dragon even went to prison.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see the correlation, but it's possible. You know,
it's possible.
I feel
cause
like,
go ahead.
I know, I was about to say, I feel like with what Vash said and what is they're doing with the original copy, maybe he had it on him when he first got arrested and she got a copy of the journal. That's the only thing. Like, I'm wondering, because other than that, I don't think she just snuck into his apartment and got the journal.
I mean, maybe the journal was in his prison cell. He hasn't exactly been back to Bel Rev, so.
Yeah. So that I'm saying, maybe it was like part of his properties or his belongings, and now she
Right.
got it. Yeah.
Right. But it's just like, what's in it? What's the point? Like, she already has leverage on Chris. If he does anything that she doesn't like, there's a bomb in his head. So it's like, what's the point? What's the point of, like, framing Peacemaker, right? Because he already has to serve time in prison. So it's like, if he fucks up, you can either put him back in prison or blow his head off. So it's like, what's the point of the book? Like, who is it in criminal information against? Like, I don't get it. Like, I've been trying to figure it out and I just can't. I can't see it. Like, chat, let me know what you guys think. Like, what's in this book? Because she already has Chris by the balls. Like, she doesn't need anything else. So it's like, what's in it?
Yeah, Vash might be right. It might be some information on White Dragon.
But it's like, what else do you need to know? He is the leader of the neo-Nazis. What else do you need to know? What other incriminating evidence do you need? He's the fucking literal White Dragon. Like, what else do you need, you know?
Could be enough to put him away for long enough for her to use him on a mission or something like that. Or I don't know.
It's very curious because I feel like, wait,
That's a really good point, dude.
yeah, damn, Steve, you brought up a good point because I'm here.
If she can get White Dragon in prison to the point where he doesn't have a choice but to take up her offer, she will have access to the Aryan army. But the question leads to, again, for what purpose? Like, why does she need a bunch of racist white dudes when she has like prisons full of supervillains that she can just put bombs in their heads? But that is a really interesting idea, though.
What happened if she comes up to him saying that, hey, I have your other son alive, come up with some crazy wild story and saying that if you want your son to come to you or your favorite son, fuck Chris. I mean,
but how does that work though? Because I mean, I don't know. Like, how does that work? Because we saw him seizing. I mean, he could have survived.
Yeah,
but
we
like,
don't know anything.
Yeah, it's like, why would Waller kidnap a kid just to have a grudge against the White Dragon? Like, I don't know. Like, again, not saying you're wrong. I'm just trying to piece it together in my head. I'm just
course. Yeah.
What's the correlation here? So it's like, that's what I've been thinking of like all day. Like, well, ever since Peacemaker started, like, what's in this fucking journal?
Yeah, I'm ready for these next couple episodes because we didn't even get a callback to the flashback of him and his little brother, or him and his brother having the seizure and everything like that. We didn't even get a callback to that in this episode. And
I don't think we'll get back to that till the finale.
Damn. Yeah, I think we're gonna get that back in episode 6 or 7 and maybe 8, but one of those will be happening next episode, because if Chris does get captured by the cops or something, Chris will be staring at the ceiling. He sees his father in prison, and then they will talk more about the past. That's my guess.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, Adebayo plants the book. She leaves. She calls her wife, and like you guys already alluded to, like, this is a very, very human moment where she needed someone outside of this situation to connect to in order to vent for all of the terrible things that she's been doing just in these last couple of days, right? Like, she planted incriminating evidence. She shot a man. She had to watch someone else die. Like, all of these different things. Like, she's going through it. So it's like, through that lens, I do get it. I am with you guys that she's like this outlet for Leota. Still don't care, but we'll see how it goes. But she calls her wife, leaves her a voicemail, goes back to base, puts on the helmet, and like we were talking about, this is where she sees that there is a butterfly inside of Murn's head. So here's the thing. We know that the butterflies are good. I think Murn's a good guy. I don't think he's actually going to hurt Adebayo in any way, shape, or form. I think he's going to tell her, I know what you just saw, but I need you to not say anything. Like, I don't think he's going to hurt her at all, because what we saw in the post-credit scene is that Goff, the butterfly that Chris has, literally drew a peace symbol on the jar, right? So this tells us that the butterflies are here for peace. This is also something that Judo Master alluded to, that they're actually here for peace, but in what regard, right? Like, in what way? Like, why are they taking over people if they want peace? So there's still a lot of questions to be had. But yeah, I don't think Murn's going to hurt her at all. Like, what do you guys think?
So I don't think he'll have the opportunity. So either he's going to stop, like you said, and make Adebayo see the light, like, hey, I'm not going to hurt you. This is what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. And we could give some backstory on the butterflies, which would be really dope to finally get some more information on it. Because obviously, I don't think Murn, if anything, I don't think Murn dies in episode 6. You see what I'm saying? Or he's revealed in episode 6. We still got 2 more episodes to go. So it's actually like really interesting that he got revealed and spotted, you know what I'm saying, as a butterfly in this episode. I don't think anybody is going, because obviously Harcourt is going to be at the bar still, or we believe that. Peacemaker probably, you know what I'm saying, you left kind of abruptly. It could possibly be he followed her, but I doubt that too. I think he probably just stayed there. So I don't know what we're going to get. It would be interesting if Vigilante is just walking the streets at night and he sees it, the kind of like attack thing, but
he's at work too, though.
Yeah, he was at work. Yeah, dang it. Could we get another chainsaw massacre? But because I agree with you though, because he could have gotten her before she got out the house and dragged her back in the house because she wasn't running fast. He was right there on her heels at the door.
They're way faster, way stronger.
Yeah. And he wouldn't even have to stand over her. He could just pick her up and throw her back in the house or something like that. So I do think that he's not going to hurt her. And to much credit, like that helmet is there at this place. What if Peacemaker was the one that saw it? You see what I'm saying? And he didn't destroy the helmet as soon as he knew that it was X-ray vision or anything like that. So he obviously, like you said, is got some kind of peace going, or you know what I'm saying? They're peaceful and things like that because there's an X-ray helmet sitting in the building with him, and he knows how Peacemaker operates. He could have destroyed that helmet or did anything to do it, and he didn't.
Yeah,
so
I think he's genuinely on our side. I don't think he's going to be hostile in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. Vash, what about you? Like, do you think he's hostile towards the team, towards Adebayo? Like, what do you think?
Well, the way he reacted, scream, chase her out of the building, attack her to the ground, kind of hard to tell. While you guys were talking, his character, Merm, and Adebayo, they're in for the 8 episodes. So we'll see them until the finale. But it just begs to differ is that these past episodes, we had the chance to kind of theorize what could be next or what's going to happen. In this next episode, episode 6, next week, I don't really have a theory of where it could go. Like, I have an idea where Merm and Adebayo could take, like James said, hey, you didn't see nothing. Nothing happened. Here's some money. You know what? Go back to your wife. You chill. Hey, I know you work for your mom, or some crazy wild shit. But it really makes to differ, like James brought up. These are probably good aliens. These are probably like a whole, scrolls, some type of inner type of civil war. But
that's also a possibility.
So it just depends on where James Gunn's going to take it. Like, I have a couple ideas, but do I really know which one's going to go to? Hell the fuck no. Because it's just interesting the way James Gunn abruptly just ended the episode by Merm just capturing her. I'm like, oh, cool. We know then one, he's not going to kill her because that is going to make the team very suspicious. Like, yo, where did she go to? So it really just, and also the last person that saw her was Chris. So that also brings in more of a big icebreaker on the next day. They were like, hey, what's about that? Oh, sorry, in my crib. And then she never shows up. That's also going to make things question the team and Chris a lot more. And then put him in jail. And then detective. And then boom, his life just goes to jail.
Yeah, I think it's very probable that there is a civil war going on. Like, it's very, very probable. Because it begs a lot of questions. Why would Mern even let them go to the fucking factory? It's like, yes, Adebayo did bring him the evidence, and if he didn't do anything with it, that would raise more questions. But he could have tried to deter them. Like, he knows that this is a manufacturing facility for the sustenance that he needs to live. So it's like, I'm subscribing to there's definitely probably a civil war going on. Amanda Waller knows, and maybe even sacrificed Mern to a butterfly to use this team to take out the rival butterflies. I think it's very possible. I think that might be the direction that they're going, but I don't know, man.
That would be interesting if she, because it sounds some Amanda Waller shit, like sacrificing you to make sure that we get a butterfly on our side. We know that you're a good one and all this other stuff. And it's funny because all the conversations that Mern has about Amanda Waller, we're not going to kill anybody that doesn't deserve it and stuff like that. And then to find out you sacrificed someone, you sacrificed this person so I could live, he could be my host. I think that's like an ironic conversation to have. What I'm saying? An ironic line to be like, yo, we're not going to just be like Amanda Waller and sacrifice people and stuff like that. Like, I'm like, oh shit. And then he was super like, for him to be a butterfly, he was like, take the shot. Those kids are butterflies. Kill them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, there's got to be a civil war or something going on. It's got to be. I agree
Yeah.
now. I think there's probably a civil war going on. There's good butterflies and there's bad butterflies because the butterfly that Chris had sex with, she reads the documents and she immediately attacks him. Whereas, you know what I'm saying, Mern kind of was spotted. He's scared, but he could have easily just grabbed Adebayo and yanked her through the wall or something like that. But he
Yeah.
like kind of chased her down. So
They're
I
aggressive
think
there, Steve.
And then like the way that
that's
he
what she
looks
gets done.
the way that he looks at her too is just like, fuck, what am I gonna do? It wasn't like, it didn't look aggressive in any way. It was just like, well, what do I do now that you know my secret, you know? So I don't think he's gonna hurt her at all. Like we've been alluding to, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of civil war going on and it's just like, well, we have to do something and this is the only team that we can get to take care of it, right? So I'm very interested to see where Peacemaker goes. Like, I love the ambiguity. I love not knowing what the fuck is going on because all of us here on the panel, like, this is what we do. Like, we look at this stuff and we figure shit out. Like, this is literally what we do. So I love this. I can't wait to see where Peacemaker goes for the last 3 episodes, right? Because there's 8 episodes, right?
Yeah, 6, 7,
so
8.
I can't wait to see. There's so much to wrap up. There's so much to do. Like, how do we end this season? Like, how do we end this season without knowing what we're going to do with all of the other butterflies all around the world, right? Like, what else are we going to get with this team? Do we get more Amanda Waller? What's going to happen with Leota's wife? There's so many questions. I love the ambiguity, and I'm so ready for the next 3 episodes. Like, every time an episode of Peacemaker ends, I'm like, is it Thursday already? Because I need more, you know?
Yeah.
So this was a great episode. Mm-hmm.
I just want to add to what you're saying because it makes it very true to a good point. For the past 4 episodes, we dropped 3 and we saw the 4th one. I never said I needed the next one. Now in the end of episode 5, it's the first time I say I need the next episode because it just ended in an actual cliffhanger that makes you question, where the fuck are we going with this now? Like, Merv just got Adebayo. She better not die. Plus knowing that she's gonna be here in the next 3 episodes still, so like it really makes you wonder where the story gonna go because now it could go anywhere in any turn of events, and once James Gunn shows us, hopefully 6 Atlantic, because I'm very curious about it.
Yeah, man. But that post-credit scene showed us a lot of stuff that we're in for. White Dragon's out of prison. The detectives have Peacemaker surrounded at his place. So it's going to be a pretty fun episode. It's going to be a lot going on, and I can't fucking wait. Steve, any final thoughts on this episode before we wrap up?
No, man. I think this is a really good episode. It was kind of surrounded about Adebayo for most of the episode. Pretty much, we follow her character throughout the whole episode, pretty much. It starts with her in the apartment. It ends with her on her own, and then she finds out what's going on with Mern. And we get bits and pieces in between that. So this was kind of an Adebayo episode. And I was really liking it.
Yeah. Vash, any final thoughts?
My final thoughts, this episode is great. Action. When you throw a bomb, make sure the people around you knows it's gonna come happen. If you have an X-ray helmet, make sure that you don't tell a person what's happening. You just tell them you're calm. Start killing. Consent. Make sure that the X-ray vision works. And if you're gonna use it by borrowing somebody's helmet, for God's sake, don't let it be next to random people because they might have a butterfly inside them. And sometimes they gotta spread their wings because they just took a Red Bull.
They just took a Red Bull.
I don't know where else to go from there. James, take me away before I continue.
Yes. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of C4SVillains, episode 50 of Villains. Still can't believe it that we got it. We got to 50 episodes so quickly.
Arigato!
And this is still the beginning of the year. We still have so much stuff coming up for you guys for the rest of the year. Moon Knight's coming in March. So much shit. We got Miss Marvel coming out later this year. There's so much going on.
Are we still gonna say our favorite thing that we review?
Yeah. I actually completely forgot because I forgot to put it on the show notes. So let's go around real quick and just talk about like one of our like favorite reviews that we've done, whether it's like a movie, a comic, a TV series that we've done. So Vash, I want to start with you. Like, what was one of your favorite episodes that we've done so far?
One of my favorites is, even though it's very recent, Spider-Man No Way Home. I love that we reviewed that because for those that know, I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I grew up with the Spider-Man comics. One of the first series that my mom bought me from a comic book store and everything. So just and also reviewing it with the guys, and saying that saying that we all enjoy Toby, Andrew, and Tom in the same film for the first time in in many plus years, and knowing that Andrew, my favorite version of Spider-Man slash Peter Parker, is now more beloved by others, and people are requesting for an amazing Spider-Man 3 as a person who works in production, as a person who's a fan of him as an actor and as a person. I'm blessed for that because that man will do great in that film. And just Spider-Man No Way Home, and my other contender, if you put it, uh Wanda and Vision. It's just the experience week to week of who's the villain. Is it Mephisto? Is it Wanda? Is it Hagatha? So like, who was it? So just knowing that with James and with our Batman version of Chris talking about it, who's the villain? It was just comedy for us, and knowing that we were never right, only with a few things. Ralph Boner. So like, even though people could say is their favorite or non-favorite of 2021, is the most enjoyable thing I review with James and the crew because it was just a great week-to-week experience in a reviewing style type of content.
Steve?
I remember y'all like, oh, the beekeeper.
The beekeeper's Mephisto! Confirmed!
I remember that like it has to mean something. We just transition cut
Mephisto
off.
confirmed. The flies Mephisto confirmed.
That was funny.
Was.
So I guess for me, I won't take Spider-Man since Vash took it. Loki. That was like my first like really times being on the episodes. I was on the Mortal Kombat review, but it wasn't nothing good about that. but like the Loki. Oh no, actually, I was got the because that Mortal Kombat review was half Mortal Kombat, but it was the finale for Invincible. That was like one of my favorite moments too. Because we got to really dive in deep into Invincible. I had already read it. So like me, like kind of like, oh yeah, you guys got some good theories and all this other stuff. It was interesting hearing everybody's theories and trying to like see how close you guys were without, spoiling anything. So I really enjoyed that Invincible review. But like Loki, that was when I got on consistently and like just theorizing throughout that series. That was really, really fun. So I'll go with the Loki review too.
Yeah, you took my two, man. Actually, because for me, the Loki reviews are really special to me, because that was especially the first one. That was when I realized I was like, oh shit, I need Abe and Steve as co-hosts on this podcast right fucking now. You know what I mean? So it's like doing the entire series review with you guys. That was really special to me. I love those reviews. And then, like you said, like the review we did with Nox and like the whole fucking crew talking about Mortal Kombat, talking about the Invincible finale. Like that was insane. That was absolutely insane. So yeah, those are definitely like two of my favorites. Like I loved our fucking Winter Soldier reviews as well. When we reviewed Justice League Dark Side War, that was the first like full comic run that we reviewed on the channel.
Zack Snyder. That one also, that was a 3-hour plus review.
Yeah, man.
And I remember us just talking about it. And it was just going to break down and break that. I remember us talking about the Flash scenes for so long just because of how amazing it was, the slow motion.
Yeah, man.
Damn, I might actually just rewatch that film this weekend just for the fuck of it because it's so good.
Yeah, man. Zack Snyder's Justice League is the best DC movie ever made. I don't care what anyone says. It is better than The Dark Knight. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you think.
The Dark Knight is overhyped as fuck, and I'm gonna say that right there.
I'm also going to, and I've been saying this. The fight sequences in the Dark Knight trilogy fucking suck. They're some of the worst fight sequences I've ever seen in film. I said it. I said it. No, go back and watch those movies. Right, go back and watch them. The fight sequences in the Dark Knight trilogy, they're fucking ass.
Would you think it's the stunts, or would you think it's the actor and their stunts?
No, it's the second unit. I don't think they were a good team. It's the second unit and it's the editor. I feel like the editor had no choice but to cut around the terrible fight sequences that the second unit put together, and they had no choice. They're awful,
Just
bro.
to know,
dude. People,
just to know when I rewatch it, watch all three or just the Dark Knight.
all three.
Okay,
all
I'm
three.
gonna try to do that. I'm gonna try to do that this weekend, and I'll get back to you.
Especially in like the Dark Knight Rises, dude. People just fall down. Batman doesn't even touch them; they just fall. Pay attention. There's a rooftop fight scene with Catwoman and Batman where people just fall. And then the third act fight with Batman and Bane, just look around at the people around them. The fights are like that's it. And they just fall down. Like it's terrible. They're god awful. But those movies, I love the trilogy, but the fight sequences are fucking god awful. But before I go into a complete rant about the Dark Knight trilogy, Steve, where can the people follow you online?
James rants are amazing. So fans, audience, you guys will love these more in the future. You know, continue subscribing for us because you will get more of these things. Because I'm like just being entertained just by James' passion is so contagious. Because now it makes me want to watch the Dark Knight just to really analyze it as a film fan and work in production to actually pay attention to this fight card. Because back then I was like, oh shit, oh, cool.
Yeah, because it's just Christian Bale is so fucking awesome, and Nolan's directing Batman movies. You don't care, but dude, I've seen The Dark Knight. I shit you not, at least 40 times. I've seen Batman Begins at least 15 times. I've seen The Dark Knight Rises at least 20 times. They're awful. Once you take out the fanboy in you, just look at them. They're terrible. The fight sequence between Batman and Ra's al Ghul in Batman Begins, it's fucking terrible. They're all so bad. They're slow. The choreography's terrible. The editing's terrible. The fight sequences fucking suck, bro. Yeah. They're terrible.
All right, I need to rewatch it.
Yep. Yeah, I need to rewatch it.
Everything else around it is amazing, and The Dark Knight is still in like my top 20 favorite comic book movies of all time. But Zack Snyder's Justice League is better. Steve, where can the people find you online?
Oh yeah, you can follow me on all social media at ScubaSteve1428. You can follow the Blerd Mind Pod. It's a Linktree, and it will lead you to everything that everyone is doing. All 9 members. We just got one guy on our team, some guy by the name of Abe or whatever. He's a Twitch affiliate now, so congratulations to him. Hey. And then we also added onto our Linktree Patreon, and we got 2 people that are sitting right here that are Patreon members.
Oh, James too.
Yeah. So
James is technically twice because the Anime Lately subscribed. So you know,
doubled up.
Because a bundle.
Yeah,
that's bundle.
Yeah, and our Patreon, we've uploaded now 5 episodes this week onto the Patreon. So we're loading y'all up with content.
Hell yeah, bro.
It's 9 of us, so there's no reason for us not to give you a bunch of content, especially if you're going to be paying to be a Patreon member. There's no reason for us not to give you content. So anything.
Go subscribe to the Patreon because you'll get a poem also from Abe. $10 a month, you'll get a poem directed to you. So go subscribe. Just for that, please. Do me a favor. Do it. Just because you get Abe to do more work.
Right?
He will love that. Give him a reason to be more artistic and do poems. Just like at least 100 people. Just go to the tier of $10. That's all I want.
Yeah. But that's it, man.
Vash?
You can find me at Legendary Vash everywhere else on the anime podcast. I was not there last night, but you know what? These 2 lovely gentlemen, Sam was there, and I bet you they did a great entertainment show. Sadly, it was not a live stream because technical difficulties, but go check out the VOD. It's a video. Go check it out. It only has a couple of views, but definitely go give us some love. And you can find me at Shonen Ronin this Sunday. James will not be there, sadly, for the next couple of weeks. But you'll find myself, Sam, and maybe any other of our panelists will be there. We'll be talking about Undead Unluck, Black Clover, My Heroes on Break, and at JJK, and maybe another series. Who the hell knows? And definitely, you'll find myself and Steve next week. James will be out of the show, so me and Steve will be hosting this for next Sunday. Next Friday. So it'll be fun. So put topics, send us topics you want us to talk about. It's a Vash and Steve show, and whoever else comes. So it'll be entertaining one. Can't wait to see how James will react on how the show went.
Yeah, I'll watch the playback because next Friday is my girlfriend's birthday, so we're gonna be out of Nashville. We're gonna get dinner and travel, do some stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun there. You can follow me all over social media at JB Exclusive. Follow me on Twitter, where I do a bunch of movie reviews on Twitter, talk about comics on there as well. Go to carefulforspoilers.com, find links to the Patreon, the merch store, all of the different podcasts on the C4S Podcast Network, and all of the articles that we do on there as well. Mia has been putting in a lot of work doing Blu-ray articles, Blu-ray reviews on the website. Steve has been putting in a bunch of work. Steve just did a movie review for Snowpiercer that's up on the website right now. Steve also wrote an article talking about the future of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, talking about, the TV shows, the movies that they did, where they go from here with there's a new CG one that they're making, right, Steve?
There's a CG one on Netflix. There's Seth Rogen that's coming out with a series on Nickelodeon. And then what's his name from freaking Saturday Night Live? Colin Jost will be in another one where he will be playing Leonardo in that one. So
so definitely definitely check all of that out. Make sure you guys are following us on Twitch, twitch.tv/C4Spoilers. This was our first show streaming simultaneously on YouTube and Twitch. And when I get back, I want to see if I can add Facebook too, bring in some more people to join in on the episodes with us. It's going to be a really, really fun time. So thank you to the Twitch gang. Thank you to everyone here on YouTube. Brian, thank you for sticking it out with us, and everyone else, Merc, everyone else that showed up in the show, Breezy, Mia, thank all of you that are here. So I appreciate it so much. And Vash and Steve will be back next week for Peacemaker episode 6, and we will see you guys on the next one.